Munai Khan said once upon a time, the easiest way to be reborn is to live and feel life every day. We are headed into summer. It is sunny out, at least where we are. It's warm. We're ready to see faces again, to take the masks off and to get back out into the world. Hallelujah. And what better time for us to be a little bit retrospective, but a whole lot of new rebirth and growth headed into summer. This is when we come to our senses and say, what am I going to learn from all of everything that has just happened over the last 15 months? Am I going to go back to normal, quote unquote, who I was? Or am I going to learn from everything and be reborn into somebody even greater than what normal was in the past?
Yes. Yes.
So, with that, welcome to the Homebod Podcast. Heather and I are here to help you find a happy home, head, and health. And what better way to send us off into the summer than to talk about a little bit of introspection, but with that, the courage to get out and do and to be reborn, to see faces, to get away from the Zoom screen and to get out off of our butts and back out into the world. I'm so looking forward to this summer.
Yes. Yes. It's been one heck of an 18 months here, 16 months, whatever it's been. I stopped counting, but it's I was actually just having a conversation with one of my clients and she was talking about, now she's back to work. And it's been such an adjustment for her just to get up and get dressed in the morning. And so I think we're all kind of still adjusting to like quote unquote real life again,
Mhm.
but I think it's
Mhm.
really important to also look back at, the last 12, 16 months, whatever, and say, you know, what happened? What did I like? What would I like to continue? And we talked about this going into it.
Yep.
Talked about how, you could use it as an excuse to not have to be around the people you don't want to be around. And but
Uh-huh.
now what? Now how can you benefit from this? How can you look back and go, I really enjoyed that time that I had to go walking every morning, or I really enjoyed being home with my kids all day, or, I really realized that I need to go out and see other humans. That it really makes me crazy to not interact with other humans. Like, what did you learn? What did you like? What did you learn about yourself? What did you didn't like? And what are you going to use moving forward into your next chapter? Because let's be honest, we're not going back to anything. It's the
No,
next chapter.
no. Well, and I tell clients all the time, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks something is worth. What does it mean to you?
Mm-hmm.
So, what does all of this mean to you? What does finding a new workout routine mean to you? What does um, this was one of the greatest things I think people realized is we got into the COVID shutdowns and everybody said, I have newfound time to go do all the things that I said I didn't have time to do. And how much of that actually got done? There were some
Right.
things that really did get done. And it was like, whoa, now I have the time to go paint that bedroom and to go pull these things out and to go do all those things. And there were other things that we figured out pretty quickly. I don't think time was the factor.
Maybe I just didn't want to do it.
Maybe I just didn't want to do it, or maybe I didn't know how to do it, or maybe it was something else. And so, if we can dig a little bit into that introspection of what didn't happen that I thought was going to happen during all of this,
Mm-hmm.
and what is it about the way that I have changed that I love?
Right.
I want to continue as things open back up, as my job thinks that I can't hack it, working online anymore. I have to come back into the office.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, how are you going to adjust to that? How are you going to pivot? How are you going to make sure that everything that you've learned to love and hold on to, everything that's valuable to you right now, how are you going to continue to take that with you? How are you going to continue to implement and integrate that into your life to make sure things are still happening?
I
um,
think you can, and I think a lot of things people don't realize that we all look at the world black and white,
mhm.
on or off. What if you created a hybrid life, right? What if
Yeah.
you took what you loved out of the shutdown life and what you loved out of pre-shutdown life and put that together? You loved the slower start to the day. If you have the opportunity to make your own schedule, then maybe don't start taking appointments until later in the day so you can have a slower start to the day so you can go on that morning walk or do your extra meditation or whatever. And the things about the COVID life the pre-COVID life that you loved about human interaction, keep that in there too. Make sure you still prioritize getting out and getting together with friends. But I know for me, it's definitely made me a lot more particular about what I say yes to, because I've shared this before that when March hit last year, it was the biggest pressure release ever for me. And it was a big wake up call because I didn't realize how stressed and how just scheduled out my life was to the point where
Yeah.
it was unhealthy. And so when I no longer had to go anywhere or do anything, it was like, oh, this is heaven.
Oh,
This is amazing. And so when we started ramping back up, I I went right back in autopilot, right back into that old me. And I thought, hold on,
mm-mm,
I don't
mm-mm.
like this. I don't want to do this. And so I've been very, very diligent about blocking out time in my calendar to not do anything, like not schedule anything, not this is a day I'm not doing things, or saying no to certain social events, saying no to certain networking events, saying no to, kids stuff to the most extent I can. That's the hardest one, I think, for
Right.
me.
Yeah. It always is.
I think it's important that we really take stock of what the last year has done in our lives, good and bad, and then move forward positively.
And I think for me, the most that I've learned is the time factor. Is the do I really want to take the time to do this? Is the thing more valuable, or is the money more valuable, or is the time more valuable? And so much I err on the side of time, that I want the time to go do what I want to do. I want the time with my family. I want the time to relax, to turn off, to do all those things, to reconnect. I want time to go to the massage therapist. I want time to, do whatever it is, whatever I want to do. And so it was setting up boundaries and setting up restrictions, for all the external things that they think that they're the most important thing.
Yep.
But it's up to me to be able to say, no, my time is the most important thing to me. And so you get to wait a minute.
Right. I
And
I also I hope people, I don't know if it happens, but I hope people will reflect on their health and the value of it after this last year. Um I heard on a podcast recently, it was a doctor talking about, the effects of the pandemic and stuff. And she jokingly, but not jokingly said, what if you heard the word broccoli as many times as you heard the word mask in the last year?
yeah,
How would that have changed your life? How, if you heard you need to eat broccoli to be healthy, you need to eat broccoli to be, broccoli makes you healthy, like everywhere you turned, you would be so inclined to eat broccoli. And it's sad to me that we missed that opportunity, um, as a country and as a world to focus on that part of it. But I hope people realize how valuable their health is. And maybe it was a little bit of a gut check of, I need to take care of myself.
yeah,
You never know what's going to come down the road. And I need to have a strong immune system. I need to have a strong body in order to fight off whatever might come down the road, whether it's a virus or it's an accident or an injury or whatever. If your body's already in decent working order, you can handle those things. But
yeah,
if you're already running on empty and got nothing left to give, if you hit your body with one more thing, it just says, I'm out. I'm done.
yeah.
So I
Well,
hope.
and I mean, you and I try the whole reason we made this work to combine the health and fitness world with professional organizing world is to show people that, like, these boxes aren't boxes. It's more of that spaghetti. It's all in the same bowl,
Right,
and they're intertwined. Each of
right,
them have, their own little noodles, but they're all intertwined
right,
to say, hey, you as a person, you don't have this compartment for health and this compartment for your home and this compartment for this and this
right,
compartment for that.
right.
They intermix and they all touch each other. And that's why this this partnership works so well is because, hey, what works for one is going to affect the other, and
Yeah.
what works for the other is going to affect this one. So as we focus on health, or if your major focus was on your home, recognize what effects that has on everything else. What effects does your health have on your kids? What effects does your home have on your business? What effects does your schedule have on keeping your car clean? I mean, there are all these things that intertwine with each other. And going into summer is a big shift in schedule. The kids are out of school, whether they were doing online school or in-person school. There's a shift. We've now shifted out of, we're way out of winter, but we're shifting out of spring and fully into summer, which means we are into summer clothing, summer sports, summer ideas, summer schedules,
Vacations.
summer vacations. How are you going to turn this into something good and positive, instead of returning to quote unquote normal? We
I
want
know a lot of people last summer took advantage of going outside and, being more active. I know bike
to.
sales are still, it's impossible to get a bike.
Impossible.
um, and, ATV and RV and like the usage of the mountains around us is just insane. And I hope that continues.
Yes.
I always see a drop off with my group fitness classes in the summer, and I jokingly start prepping them in, March, April, to plan on continuing to attend their favorite classes and work out at the gym even through the summer, because people, we get these grandiose ideas that we're going to go hiking every day and we're going to work out at the park and we're going to do all these things. And at the end of the day, you may do it once or twice, but if you allow yourself to get too far out of your normal routine, you don't ever get back in it.
Yeah.
So it's important to keep some normalcy through the summer, some routine through the summer where, yes, kids are out of school, you're going on vacation and all that kind of thing, but routines, habits, as long as you maintain them, they don't fall off. You
Yeah.
can have bonus workouts by hiking, bonus workouts by working out at the park, but you got to keep your main flow. And whatever that flow has been for the last year, if it's working for you, stick with it. Just because everything's opening back up doesn't mean you suddenly like throw caution to the wind and go, do whatever.
Exactly. Well, and I do the same thing for myself that I tell anybody that I work with. If you have your kids put their backpacks in a certain place, continue to have them put those backpacks there throughout the summer.
Yeah.
Because if you move it and you start putting other things in that space, you're going to have a huge transition to go through come fall and the kids go back to school.
Well, and they still need backpacks. My daughter's at camp today. She
Exactly.
had to pack a lunch, take a water
Yep.
bottle, and a backpack. It's the same thing
Yep.
at school.
So whether they're doing camps, whether they're doing band camps or theater camps or football camps or whatever, they're going to need some kind of bag. So keep it there. They're going to go spend a weekend at grandma's. Great. The backpack is right there. So we use it differently, but the space is taken up
Yeah.
with the norm. So that's what we're talking about. Like, we don't break the things that you like, the things that work.
Yeah.
That's what we would call normal, but we don't want to go back to the same person that we were 15 months ago, where things were broken and we kept saying, oh, if I just had the time, if I just had the time, if I just had the time. Okay, you had the time and now we're moving on. We're progressing. So stick to the things that work. Stick to the things that know this fits in my schedule. This is what I love. This is what I do. And now how can I shift it? How can I use that backpack instead of for school? How can I use it for summer? So shift the things that need to be shifted, but hang on to the things that you know and love.
Yes.
Hang on to that structure that's going to carry you through, and find success on the other side.
Let's talk about goal setting.
Mm-hmm.
I know usually people set goals in January and that's it. Then they leave it for the rest of the year. But I set seasonal goals.
Yes.
And I know you do too. And a lot of business owners go quarterly, right? But they don't tend to do that in their personal life. I think this time of year is a fantastic time to reassess, especially if you set some goals in January, right? You're halfway through the year, just about. Where do you stand? Where do you need to adjust? And if you didn't set goals, now is the time. Um, in my world, it takes 90 days to see any kind of change in your body.
Yep.
And that's a little change. We say 90 days for yourself, um, 3 months for your close family, and 6 months for your friends to see any changes. 6 months from now is the holiday season, friends.
Dun, dun, dun.
Like, if you want to look good at Christmas or at Thanksgiving dinner, you got to start now, you know? And if you wait till the end of summer to get started, which I hear all the time, oh, I'm just going to, at the end of summer, summer's just too crazy. I'm just going to wait. Okay. So that puts you into September. By the time you see any change significant that your friends are going to notice, is going to be next spring. Like, you gotta get on it.
Great.
Oh,
That's great that you would feel good for next spring, but why not earlier?
why not now?
Why
Yeah.
not now?
Yeah. So good time to reassess. I mean, good time to, like you said, if you're going using the space for backpacks, it's a good time to go out and clear it out.
Yes.
Empty the backpacks. That's my favorite part of the school year. Dumping
Right.
out backpacks, getting
Dump
rid of
them.
all that crap, getting rid of the clothes that don't fit anymore, all that stuff. Good time to reassess for goals for bedrooms. Like, do you have kids growing? Right? Getting more children? Ugh. Please, please, Lord, no more children.
There is a time and a season for everything, and that season for me has passed. But again, I mean, there's such an influx of stuff when a new baby comes. There's always an influx of stuff with growing kids because they're growing. And so summer is a good time to assess those goals of, how am I going to watch the growth of my kids? How am I going to make sure that my house stays maintained, neat and tidy? And summer is also the time when there are yard sales and tag sales, whatever you call them in your area. This is a good time to just move things out of the house because you want to be out of the house. You want to be out doing things, not stuck at home looking at the clutter that's accruing. So get it out of the house. Take these seasonal transitions at full face value and say, okay, this is a seasonal transition. I'm going to transition with the seasons and say, this is what goes out of the house. Do your kids have school uniforms that they're not going to wear over the summer and they're not going to fit into by the time school starts again in the fall? Then get them out of the house, get them gone, or at least make a plan for how you're going to deal with it when, if you want to sell it or consign it. It might not be the right time to do that right now, but make a plan for what you're going to do to sell it or consign it when the time comes when they start accepting those things.
Yep.
So about the time when you want to start buying those things, you've missed the window. They've been accepting those items at consignment stores already. So don't miss those windows. You've got to plan ahead.
That's a good point. I never even thought about that you don't want to be getting rid of school clothes in September. You
Nope.
need to be in Rome now so that the stores can sell them in September.
Exactly. So thrift stores, they will just take anything whenever, but if you want to consign it, or if you want to try to yard sale it, people are not in the mind of that just yet. So if you want to yard sale it, people aren't thinking along those lines right now. You want to sell it when people are buying it. But if you want to consign it, you want to sell it to the consignment shop when they're getting ready to open up for, the grand opening for back to school or whatever. So you're going to want to consign stuff in August, the end of July and August for them to start selling that kind of stuff. So pay attention to your timelines and make a plan. So if you don't want to just get it out of your house, make a plan for how you're going to get it out of your house when it's time. So again, you only have time or money. What do you have more of, and how can you be strategic with your time in order to make or recoup or save money?
Yeah.
Is where we want to go with this.
Yep.
So
I love it. Time to start planning. So, and
so
we
this is the end. We have been planning. We are planning. This is the end of season 2 for us. We are going to take summer break, just like everybody else. We're going to follow our kids and not produce any podcasts over the summer, but we have plans for when we come back in the fall. We have great plans for a whole new season of HomeBod and how to make our home, head, and health happy, and to continue all the goodness that we've had this season, and hopefully, again, make it better. We can always do better things, bigger things, and bring you all of the goodness together. So This is the last episode for this season. We're going to take a summer break and be back in the fall, and we'll keep you all clued in and posted for when that happens. But make sure that you are subscribed to the HomeBod podcast wherever you are, so that when we do jump back in the fall, you are the first to be notified and you can jump right back in with us.
Awesome. We will see you in the fall.